Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all of my beautiful, beautiful friends from the internet. I hope each and every single one of you is doing spectacularly well on this fine Tuesday morning, whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, whether that be morning, evening, or night. Welcome back to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. I am your host, Luke Dick. This is the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. Now, before we get into anything, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, anywhere, please, please, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You have no idea how much that helps out the show and helps to get to the show spread to all of our potential absolutely beautiful friends from all over the internet. So I want to thank anybody who's been doing that and all of my future listeners who will hopefully do that in the future. Remember, you can respond to this week's episode's question by going to Spotify, and if you click any of the recent episodes, but I will read out the replies from the most recent one. If you go to the description of the most recent episode, you should see the question posted in the description. You can reply to that, and I will read the replies out loud on the next week's following episode. This is an ad-sponsored show, so after we're done reading the replies from the previous week's episode, we'll read out we'll have an ad break, and then there'll also be an ad break like 20 to 30 minutes after that. Then also, please, please, please check out my Instagram and the YouTube at Reddit Asks Us podcast. On there, I post different sorts of short-form content that are really fun to watch and just binge in general. So if you're ever interested in following that, please go to my Instagram and to my YouTube channel at Reddit Asks Us podcast. And on TikTok, we're at Reddit Asks Us. So you can find us posting all those videos on there. They're super fun to make and just a real hoot to watch, and they're fun to comment on too. They get a lot of interaction, so there's some interesting controversies that happen on there. So please go ahead and do that. Now, why don't we hop into this week's reading off last week's replies? So last week was, what was the most shocking habit of somebody that you lived with? Now, there are some pretty crazy ones in here. But also remember, before I go and read off any replies, remember, even if you just want to say that you enjoy the show or just have a general comment, please go ahead and post that to the week's most recent episode. If I don't read it, I'll at least see it. Sometimes people just offer constructive criticism, which is always a good thing, but most of the time I'll read off whatever anyone has to say. So first one comes from the Green Changeling. I'm glad I don't have an answer for this one. Side note, bragging about all the fans you've used won't make you any cooler, Luke. Well, I can't exactly remember what this is in response to, but I do brag about my fans because you people are the best and brightest and most beautiful people on the planet, let alone just the internet, not even just the internet, on the planet. I love each and every single one of you. I tell you that at the end of every show. I love each and every single one of you. You are all the coolest humans, the coolest people on the planet. So I gotta brag about you. You guys are the best, okay? Straight up. I don't have, you guys mean a lot to me in my life. So how could I not? Y'all are the coolest. Next one comes from Stressed Human. What's going on, Stressed Human? My ADHD habits are bad, like forgetting eating, water drinking daily, and that showering or teeth brushing exists, unless I have to go out that day. There are some weeks where I don't go out, or during COVID. Yeah, I actually know some people with ADHD, and this is a real thing, is like forgetting to eat or drink water. That's like a totally, like I know people who just it's like a second nature weird thing. Like it's just, well, I don't want to say weird, but it's definitely a part of that diagnosis, is just like forgetting to eat. I sympathize with you, but I can't say I understand what it feels like to be like that, because I feel like I'm just always hungry. I'm just like hungry all the time. I don't eat a lot. I'm just always hungry. I'm bad for snacking. I snack a lot. I'd rather just like, I'm like, you know what? I should eat my chicken, my rice, my vegetables tonight. But damn, those Lay's Classic are screaming my name, bro. The Lay's Classic are in the pantry. All right, they're just. I know that's a controversial take. Okay, I'm not very. I like other chip flavors, but I'm saying that's the classic go-to for me. It's just the Lay's Classic. They're airy. They go down super easy. I couldn't get enough. And yeah, you know what? COVID was bad. I developed some pretty gnarly habits during COVID. The classic waking up at 1 p.m. was not unheard of for me, which is just, looking back and thinking I did that on a consistent basis is just insane. I would sleep for 12 hours. There was literally nothing else to do. I was like, oh, woke up. Oh, still COVID. Guess I'm going to hibernate. That's basically what I did. My mindset through COVID was just hibernating. Next one comes from Ghost. What's going on, Ghost? Was Luke? And yeah, it was real. It was real. Her sister had proof. And yeah, I called the cops. She was underage and her dad was 36. That's insane. That's insane. That's a callback from, I think it was either last episode or 2 episodes ago. And I agree. The time for Nick is dead. Absolutely. Love the ep. And she'd a reason been single for 3 years. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. For real. That is traumatizing. That is unbelievably insane. It's one of those things that if something like that happens to you, I feel like it would take me a year to even just process that even happened. That just feels like something out of a TV show. It's just no, that just, it didn't happen. There's just no way it happened to me. Next one comes from Cozy. I don't know if anybody asked you today, but how are you doing? Thank you for this reply. I'm doing awesome. Every single time I get to sit down with my beautiful listeners from the internet, I have the best day ever. So I'm doing spectacular. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. So, but I hope. How are you doing? I hope that you're doing well, and hope that everybody listening is doing well as well. Thank you for the concern. Everybody asks how. Was the podcast? Did you enjoy the podcast? But it's never. Did you enjoy the podcast? I don't know. I tried to do something there. Did not go over like I was intending. Anyways, you guys get the idea of what I was trying to say. Anyways, next one comes from Snish Sums. My friend's habit was used to use other people's toothbrushes. I was at his sleepover and he used mine and his was visible and that was not nice. I enjoy the podcast. Not nice? That's revolting. I think not nice is extremely conservative for a determination on that behavior. Wasn't nice. I don't think I would. I think you would be excommunicated if I caught you using my toothbrush. It's I'm just trying to get closer, okay? We eat out of the same bowl of chips, okay? Right? We shared salsa. Right? What's wrong if I've seen you double dip. Okay? So tell me how double dipping is that different from me just using your toothbrush. I'm just trying to get a sense for your DNA. Okay? I want us to grow closer together. It's a natural progression. Every friend group does this. First it starts with the double dipping. Okay, it's all right to double dip, whatever, no big deal. Next it's I'm using your toothbrush. Then we're going to exchange blood and become blood brothers. This is not, if you're not aware of this, you must be new to friendship. Okay, you clearly haven't made a real friend before in your entire life, because I don't think there's a single friend I've had that I haven't used their toothbrush, tried to dig out the toilet paper in the sewer that they've used and try to use it. It's just, this is what friends do. Okay, this is just, I collect your shower water. I don't really see the big deal here, all right? I dig out your toenail clippings from the garbage. I make little art pieces with them. This is really just what friends do, okay? Holy crap, that's insane. And thank you for letting me know that you enjoy the podcast. A small fry. Next one comes from a small fry. It's going to be a bittersweet day when you have too many comments to read out. By the way, you should totally run with that extra Patreon video idea. I know you'd have my money. Thank you so much, small fry. I was asking people, in case people are curious, I was thinking about, I mentioned this a few episodes ago, but I was thinking about potentially implementing a subscription service, so anyone who'd get subscription to the show. It's like, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how much it would cost. Maybe anywhere from like $3 to $5, and you get an extra episode every week. So you get an episode on Tuesday, and then you also get an ad-free episode on Thursdays. And I was thinking about doing that. So if anybody is interested in that, me doing that, then I would appreciate some feedback on that. But thank you for letting me know that you have support for that. I personally think it would be really fun. I really think that it would be a great time. It's just it is time consuming, so it does take a lot of time, especially because I'm full-time university, so it does take a lot of time for me to make podcasts and do Instagram and do all that sort of stuff. So to do that extra episode would be taxing, so I just want to know if there'd be enough support for it. But thank you so much. And you know what? I am welcoming to all comments. I will try to read off as many comments. I might, if that ever became to the point where I was getting that many comments, I'd probably publish an episode like maybe once a month where I read the comments that I didn't get a chance to read, because I can't leave y'all hanging like that. Y'all are too loyal, okay? Next one comes from The Dopic. Hey, Luke, my replies on YouTube aren't going through. Not sure why. I'm not sure why either. They should be going through. You should try commenting on one of my reels maybe and see what happens there. Great episode. What are you planning to do for episode 200? And you should make a Discord server so replying is easier. I could make a Discord server. I don't really know how Discord works. I've never really used Discord. I've only used it to watch like NFL games and NBA games with my friends online. I don't play video games, so I don't really know how Discord like works. So I'm not sure how to set up one, but I could look into it for sure. That sounds like really fun. That'd be cool to get like people chatting in the chat. That'd be like really awesome. And episode 200, I hadn't really thought much about episode 200, but I had talked to Sam, and if you guys are interested, I'm sure Sam would love to come back on the podcast, so I could invite Sam on for another episode. He's living here with me this summer. Next one comes from Vortex. This is insane. I saw this and I'm like, bruh. There needs to be some intervention for this next one, folks. Not wiping the butt. My brother doesn't wipe sometimes because he says he doesn't need to. Even worse when I'm doing washing and there's little pebble shapes of his bits amongst the washing. That's insane. No, you're out the house. This is a collective out the house problem. Okay, how can you say that that's not a big deal? It's just a little poop. What, are you scared of a little poop? It's just a little bit. It's not even like it's that much. It's literally just little pebbles, okay? Relax. It's not a big deal. Okay, we're animals, all right? Animals, like it's being clean is like a social construct. Okay, I don't think that I personally think that we don't need to be as clean as what the media says we should. Yeah, mainstream media says. Yeah, washing your hands, taking showers, wiping your butt. Do you ever see animals do that? When was the last time you saw a deer wipe its butt, or a dog, or a cat? Pfft. I lick mine personally. That's how I clean it. Self-cleaning. Other animals are self-cleaning. Why can't we self-clean? That is foul. That is insane. Your brother needs an intervention. Okay, this not even more. They need more than an intervention. He needs like this is a crisis. Okay, if you go on with these habits or behaviors, I swear to God, this is the reason why people died before they were 30. You want to know 100 years ago, the average lifespan was like 32? Yeah, because of motherfuckers like this. Okay, not trying to be clean. All right. It's like when they get a scrape or something, just throw some dirt on it. Yeah, no, that's going to make things much worse. That's what we call infection. Last one comes from Thean3900. Peeing while sleeping, then not showering. Still live with them. Save me. This is one of the episodes I can give a really good answer. I hope you do more general ones like these. W episode. I try to make it a good mix. It's tough sometimes because some of the stories that some of the episodes episodes have are so interesting and funny on Reddit. So I'm like, I gotta do my part to make the show, as entertaining as possible. But when the general ones do come along, they are awesome to hear the replies, and I try to make a decent balance. So it's good for that feedback. So I'll be looking for more like ones that everybody can reply to. But that again, this is what are we doing as a human race? Okay, I thought this was like stuff that we had kind of already tackled right? I thought this stuff was behind us. They teach us cleanliness principles in school from when we were like kindergarten. I don't understand. If you're gonna be a conspiracy theorist, there is way more interesting and just generally like better things to put your time towards than thinking that cleaning yourself excuse me is not worth it. That to me just seems I can't wrap my head around that. Yeah, like let me just piss in my bed here, and you know what? It's no big deal because it's just a little pee. Okay, you wouldn't probably want to light a match in my room, but it's just a little pee. Okay, it's so what? My mattress is yellow. You call it disgusting. I call it color. Okay, it's adding a little bit of mise en scène. Okay, to the environment. It's like adding character. All right. If you really want to get a sense of who I am, how are you supposed to do that without smelling my piss? If you really want to get a sense of my personality, who I am, what I'm all about, smell my piss, okay? Smell the piss, and you will finally understand the extent of who I am, all right? And then, while you're at it, don't be afraid to take a look at a couple pebbles while you're there, all right? It's only gonna give you more information about me, not less. And to me, I'm an open book, so that's kind of how I live my life. Holy crap, that was very fun and very interesting. All right, we're gonna take a short ad break, and then we are gonna come back in with this week's episode.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
So welcome back to the podcast, and let's get right into this week's episode. So this week's episode was, what family secret was finally spilled in your family? This one, I'm not sure if everybody can reply to this because not everybody has a family secret. I don't really even know if I have like a family secret per se. But I know a lot of other people do, so there were some really interesting replies on this one. So first one comes from Send Me Nudes, though. Please don't do that. No one wants to see that. And come on, Redditors have some of these Redditors have like the stupidest names. It's like, oh yeah, I see that. Let me just send you a nude real quick. My parents got divorced when I was about 3 years old. I stayed in contact with my mother, but my father got full custody as my mom apparently relinquished custody because of her financial situation and claimed she made the difficult decision of giving custody to my dad for the sake of us kids. Her financial situation, she was just loaded. She was like, yeah, I had to give up the kids because I was making too much money. How am I supposed to focus on having kids, raising children? I'm fucking stacking this bread. Okay? I don't have time for kids. I'm just, do you not see this Lambo? I just bought this Lambo cash. Okay, do you think this doesn't have car seats, okay? No room for car seats. This is not a minivan. All right, I have priorities, okay? Anyways, for the sake of us kids, because he could provide a better life for us. The most difficult sacrifice she ever made, in quotations. On several occasions, my mother would also get drunk and lament her life and say something to the effect of, I should have never left your father. He was a good guy. He didn't deserve that. We would have been happy. I had heard variations on it a bunch of times, so one day I decided to share it with my dad. I was in my mid-20s at that point. My dad, who at no point in my life ever discussed the divorce or my mom, replied, "She said that?" "Yeah. I left her because of her alcoholism and drug use and how she was always drunk during the pregnancy while you were little kids. Kids deserve a safe home to grow up in. I later got that verified from my maternal grandmother. Apparently everyone knew, but never bothered to tell me that my that my dad was the one who left my mom because she was a druggie and an alcoholic, and she didn't have to make the difficult sacrifice of giving dad custody because he could provide a better life for us. The court straight up gave my dad custody after a court battle where my mom was deemed unfit to be a parent of said substance abuses. For about 20 years, I thought my dad got dumped by my mom, but turns out he was just a really good parent and made the right choice for us kids. Wow. How could... She is just the biggest liar on... Like, how could you... It's like, you know what? You call it drug abuse, alcoholism. I call it, how am I supposed to get through the pregnancy? How am I supposed to get through this unbearable pregnancy without a little booze? Okay, it's just a little booze, okay? It's 126, okay? I drank a Mickey of vodka every night, okay? This is not big as what it's meant to be. You know that doctors have said that you can drink a little bit when you're pregnant. Okay, everyone knows that. You can drink a little bit. So, you know what? What's the difference between a glass of wine and a Mickey of Captain Morgan? Okay, you don't understand. I'm just trying to get through this difficult time. And if I can't do that without my booze and my heroin, then I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna be able to fully have this pregnancy. Then I need these things. It's like telling me don't drink water, okay? Don't eat food, okay? Seriously, you can't just tell me, oh, don't drink alcohol, oh, don't shoot up heroin. Really? Is that what we've come to as a society now? We're restricting people's freedoms. I'm the one who's pregnant. I should be able to do whatever I want. It's like, well, yes, but within reason, okay? If you want to, do some harmless activities while you're pregnant, I think everyone can agree that's, like, fine. But I think we should draw the line at alcohol and drug abuse. I think that's probably where we should... That's the bar, okay? We kind of got that. I think everyone can agree that's a really bad thing to do, okay? I think we would all agree it's also could be described as abuse. I don't think that's stretching the definition of abuse too far. That's so funny though that she's just like, yeah, like your father, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Doesn't know what he's talking about. I was living life, okay? I was a free bird. And your father, jealous. So jealous of me. Okay? He just didn't support me because he was jealous. And, that I was stacking this bread. That I was just raking in the dough. Okay? And he was just like, let me in. And I was like, nah. I'm the CEO. So I cut him out the deal. And he just got pissed. And court just decided he should have the kids. Whatever. I guess they just don't understand good business. Okay. Next one comes from P38 Lighting. My great aunt was a nurse supervisor at a mental hospital in the 1920s. She fell in love with a guy who was being evaluated for a murder trial. She helped him escape and then went to Florida, but the police caught up with them. My aunt got off easy, but he got the electric chair. I found all this out in newspaper archives while working on family history. Showed it to my mom, and she admitted it was all true. This is wild. How do you fall in love with a person like this is like falling in love with Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, I made a couple mistakes. I'm gonna be the first person to tell you that. I made a couple mistakes. I cut off a couple heads, all right? I mutilated a couple bodies, chopped them up into little pieces, tried a bit of them, eating them, tried. It's not like I feasted, okay? It's not like I held a potluck, okay? It's a pure curiosity, okay? Let's call it murder for fun. Murder for curiosity. It was not murder for maliciousness. Okay, I actually didn't even really feel any particular type of way about any of these people. So, it's not like this was like some sort of hatred motivated crime. I was just, it was just a little bit of curiosity. Call it science. Call it science. What happens when you chop someone's head off? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. I wasn't alive during the French Revolution, so I never got a chance to see it. Unfortunately, we don't host public executions anymore. You know, why don't we need to get back to our roots, okay? This is the problem with our society. We got to get back to our foundations, all right? We need to host public hangings, host the guillotine heads being chopped off. You know, I think this is the real problem in society. So, you know what? I'm really not that bad of a guy. Okay, I personally think I'm a pretty stellar individual. It's like murderers have like that ego complex. They just like think they're nothing's wrong with them. It's like, you know what? I'd actually say I'm a pretty good guy. I'd say I'm a pretty stand-up guy. Okay, I'm kind of setting an example here. You know, I think that this should be a landmark case for being a little bit more lenient on people like me. Okay, what about my feelings? Okay, have you ever thought about how I was going to feel about getting the electric chair? No. That's how you, and so you're just going to throw me in one? I don't know about that. That's crazy. How has she helped him escape? She helped him escape. She's just an accomplice in this massive, like, not conspiracy, but massive plot to unleash a murderer back into society. It's like, no, you don't know him like I know him. Okay? He's just underneath all that murder and violence and aggression and utter disregard for other humans. He's actually a really nice guy. And if you just got the chance to know him, that is insane. Reply from Saint Anonymous. It's a real-life Harley Quinn in the Joker situation, but the Joker dies. Quick, who was Batman? Reply from Guy from Riften, the electric chair. Justice. It's like Batman pulling the thing. That's Batman's new job. We've developed good enough technology now that Batman's like, we don't really need a masked vigilante anymore. Maybe back in the 1950s, we needed some masked vigilantes, but now we kind of have CCTV like everywhere we go. So I'm sorry, Batman, but we're kind of getting to solving these crimes before you do. It's like, okay, I'll take another job. Give me the chair. I do it for justice. Yeah. Bruce Wayne's got a new job. Turns out Bruce Wayne is actually also a very sadistic individual. He's like Dexter. He's like a murderer who has an obsession with killing murderers. Which, you know, there could be worse types of murderers, okay? I don't know if that's the worst kind of murderer. Is the murderer who murders murderers. I think somebody like that is... I think that somebody who murders murderers, they might be... Let's hold off on the criticism a little bit, okay? They may provide something maybe useful to society. All right, I'm saying this is speculation, okay? I'm saying like there's room for debate. Yeah, okay? I think there's a little bit of room for some healthy back and forth on this one. All right? Next one comes from OKThing2222. That my dad's little sister wasn't really his little sister. It was his sister's baby raised by his mom. The girl didn't know until she was 21. This is another one of those things, because like I hear about these kind of stories, but it's like I feel like that's kind of a shocking. I don't know if that's shocking. I'd be kind of shocked if I learned that as an adult. And I feel like maybe it's something that's like, if you normalize that to a kid, they won't feel as weird about it. I don't know. That's kind of my opinion. I don't know. I'm like, I feel like, why hide it? Because then they're gonna find out eventually. You're just gonna like find out that like people are autonomous people, you know, with abilities to make and find their own, like to find their own from information and make decisions for themselves. So I don't really see how people just bank on them just never finding out. Like, it's just like people are curious, okay? People figure stuff out in random weird ways you'll never be able to predict. So it's gonna be more awkward when you break it up. So it's like, hey, so I figured out you guys lied to me my entire life. It's like, well, I think that situation could be avoided. Potentially, right? not a massive deal. But I think this also has a lot to do with people who are raised like super religious, because I know that that's like a big thing, and you know, having children out of wedlock is a big thing. I hate that word, wedlock. That sounds so like medieval, you know. Yes, my bride to be, we will soon be wedlocked together. It's like we're like chained to each other. Okay, it's like it feels very possessive. It's like, this is my wife. It's like, no, we're wedlocked. I have her wedlocked in the basement. Okay, being wedlocked means I have the permission to lock up my wife whenever I want. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like. Actually, doesn't even necessarily. I mean, I'm only assuming it's the part of the man because, you know, men generally tend to be very possessive. But, you know, could be the wife. It's like, you know, I got my husband wedlocked in the basement. He's in his cage. He's in his wedlock cage. He's all wedlocked up. You know, he's safe and sound in the basement where he belongs. Okay, scouring the random pages of Reddit that I allow him to see. No commenting though. No commenting, only reading. He's only allowed to lurk. My husband is committed to this wedlock. Next one comes from It's Just Mo. My aunt didn't lose her teaching job due to budget cuts like she'd always claimed. Turns out she had never had a valid teaching license to begin with. Regularly had affairs with the dads and embezzled PTA money. It's like, this person, you can't pretend to be a teacher for too long, okay? You're not Mike Ross, all right? You're not Mike Ross level deception here. If you think that's where you're at, you know, I don't... And, like, look what happened to Mike Ross. If you don't know who I'm talking about, please watch Suits. One of the best TV shows ever. Spoilers, but if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. But things didn't turn out very well for Mike, okay? He went to jail. So if you're thinking, oh, I can just deceive everybody that I have qualifications for something I don't have, that's like pretending to be like a forklift driver. It's like, yeah, I just figure it out on the job. You know, I just kind of figure it out. You know, I impaled a couple people, but you know what? Who doesn't when they're learning to drive a forklift? Okay, I thought the gas was the brake. All right, I didn't know how to spin the wheels properly. It's just, I think we're being a little bit too harsh. How are we supposed to learn and gain new skills? You know what it takes? You know what? Here we go. What it takes. Whether it's impaling a couple people or misinforming children because I'm not an actual teacher and I don't even know what I'm doing, it takes sacrifice. Okay, that's at the baseline of what we're talking about. It's sacrifice. I have to sacrifice a few children's education for the greater good of me learning how to be a teacher. So I think it's a win-win in this situation. You know, that means things are going to be harder for them. And guess what? Life's not easy. Life is not easy, okay? Facts don't care about your feelings, okay? You're going to be miseducated, misinformed in your life. Boo-hoo, cry me a friggin' river, all right? So what? The next few grades are going to be hard for you because you never learned the skills that you were supposed to in kindergarten. Like, that's not my problem, okay? Life is hard. Suck it up. How about you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, okay? All right? You know, in grade 6, we never taught you how to do basics of, you know, what's going to set you up for trigonometry, so you can't do it now. That's not my problem, okay? Figure it out. That's how people did things for most of human history. So, if anything, I'm doing a good service right now. Reply from Max Taco. See, if she did just one of those things, she'd still have a job. Source, I'm a teacher. Yeah, it's true. You really sealed the deal with embezzling PTA money, you know? Maybe you could have gotten away with never having a teaching license, but, you know, having affairs with the dads, again, a little risky there. I think you're putting yourself at risk, but it's really the stealing and the embezzling of the PTA money. Yeah, I think that's where you overdid it. You know, you could have maybe gotten away with the teacher thing. The affair thing doesn't look great. People probably hear about it, but I don't know if people are going to look into your past. But I can guarantee you, if you start embezzling money from teachers, people who famously are probably one of the most underpaid positions ever. You know, I think they would notice when the money starts going down. Where the hell is all of our fundraising money? I think that there's some cause for looking into that. I don't think people are just going to be like, oh, we lost $10,000 out of the fund. Nah, let's just... a bigger fish to fry. Am I right?
This episode is brought to you by Bumble. So, you want to find someone you're compatible with, specifically someone who's ready for a serious connection, totally open to having kids in the future, is a tall, rock-climbing Libra, and loves rom-coms with vegan pizzas on Tuesdays just as much as you do. Bumble knows that you know exactly what's right for you. So whatever it is you're looking for, Bumble's features can help you find it. Date now on Bumble.
Next one comes from Cone Laney. My mother was Catholic. After 8 kids, she would go visit family. When she got pregnant, the Catholic Church would take the baby and rehome it with a barren Catholic family. I met a Greek Catholic brother. He looked like all of us, but had a Greek name and Greek parents. He's just like Scandinavian, blonde hair, blue-eyed. His last name is like Stantonopoulos or something. Yeah, that fits. He's got like no hair on his body. He's practically translucent, this man. Just full on Finland, Sweden, Swiss, like he's like 6'7". It's like, yeah. I come from a different part of Greece, you know. It's the northern part of Greece. It's up in the mountains. Yeah. It's I don't even know if there are. Yeah, there's mountains in Greece. I don't really know much about Greece, admittedly. Sorry for any of my Greek listeners. I love you. Or anyone who's got Greek heritage. I love all you my beautiful people. You know what? This is insane. I'm like I don't know if it's the biggest, you know, I think you should have some concern over trusting the Catholic Church with your children. I think if we look at history, okay, I'm just looking at history, just pointing this out. Just looking at history, the Catholic Church doesn't tend to have a great track record when it comes to dealing with kids. Okay? I'm just sue me, okay? I'm just stating a matter of fact. If there are people that I'm going to trust with my children, I think the Catholic Church wouldn't even be at the bottom of the list. Okay, I think there are numerous amounts of people that I would trust better with my children than the Catholic Church. So, I can't... This is a really weird thing. Reply from Key Farmer 6235. My mom worked as a United Airlines stewardess. Like, why don't you just put your kid up for adoption? Like, my mom worked as a United Airlines stewardess starting in the late 70s, but told me that up until the mid to late 60s, United, along with most airlines back then, wanted stewardesses to be single without children. So they did the same thing as the Catholic Church, housed pregnant stewardesses someplace, and put their children up for adoption after birth. My mom knew several women that had happened to. Just like, yeah, just... You know, we just need you to be focused on your career, okay? It's like they're just deceiving these women. That's like right around when all the, you know, women's rights revolutions are happening, making sure that there's, you know, equal access in the workplace. You know, that's right around like some of the first feminist revolutions. Well, I think that's second wave feminism is in the 70s. So it's like these really impactful feminist revolutions are happening, and count on massive corporations to deceive people. Yeah, you know, we're taking your kids because you need to focus on your career, girl boss. Okay, we understand. But if you as a woman, this is like all white men talking right now. If you as a woman want to make it up to be the CEO, sit in the big chair where all we are. Okay, you got to give up those kids. You got to give them away. All right, that's just, you're not going to make it unless you give those. So just give your children to me. Focus on your career. I promise you'll make it to the top. Yeah, and I think the statistics say that there's very, very few women CEOs, still to this day. So count on massive corporations to be probably like the worst. I think that again, track record with massive corporations is, again, not great. Could be better. Much more room for improvement there. Yeah, United Airlines was stealing children. Okay, and just giving them away. It's like, okay, I understand. Like, they're just like, it's free daycare. All right, we're just sending your kids away to daycare while you focus on your career, moving up in the world. You know, great job. Keep at it. We've got your kids in daycare. They're all taken care of. They come back and they're like, where's my son? They're like, what son? You had a son. I don't think you told the company, but you had a son. Well, I gave birth to a son that I was pregnant for 9 months with. I gave birth to a son. Where's my son? Well, you gave birth at the company hospital, and we have, or I mean, you didn't give birth. I mean, sorry, you've been at the company hospital. My bad. I misspoke. Classic me. Well, you've been to the company hospital a couple times, checkups and whatnot, and we don't have anything on record about a son. But you know what? We'll look into that for you, because I bet you're really stressed about that. I bet you're very stressed about losing your son. So or you know, the potentially, you know, your alleged son, we'll call it. We'll say alleged, because, you know, we're not making any determinations here. But you know what? Just don't even worry about it. We'll handle the investigation, internal investigation we'll conduct. And you can just, you know, focus on yourself. Focus on your career, work your way up, as they like to say, right? You know, work your way up through the ranks, climb the ladder, and when you're up at the top, we'll see you, and we'll speak to you again. So bye. Boom, slams the door on her. This is what the fuck? Oh my god, it just is just exploitation of people at its finest. I can't even believe that. It's just wild, yeah. Holy crap. When company says that they'll be your friend, don't worry. Insert company name is on your side. We'll take your children from you and you'll never see them again, so you can focus on your career. Next one comes from OKNet2896. My great-grandpa, RAPED, his daughter, and his sons killed him. Reply from Funsock1557. I like this one. Short and violent. And then a reply from OK. She got pregnant too, and the brothers were arrested but set free shortly afterwards. Yeah, this is kind of one of those, oh no, we left the jail unlocked. Oh no, they escaped. Oh no, the man who murdered a rapist who raped his own daughter. Oh no, we accidentally left the prison door open. Oh no, we got away. Oops. And you know what? Police resources are tight, so we've got some other. It's on the list. We'll find them eventually, but we're not putting out an. If you pull them over, if they have a warrant, just we have bigger fish to fry. We've got some other things we need to deal with as a police organization. So you know what? We're actually gonna. They escaped. You know, why don't we just call them gone? It's gone, and there's no sense in keeping this investigation going or anything. We're going to drop the charges, lose the warrants. You know what? It's fine. That's our mistake. Our bad. It's on us. We'll take responsibility, but, we can't have them suffering for our mistake. So we'll let them free. I was discussing with Sam before the podcast because I was reading through some of these comments. Yeah, I know technically it's considered murder to kill like one of those type of people or like a pedophile or something, but yeah, I don't think we shouldn't paint such a broad brush. Okay, I think there's levels to it. There's some ones that are worse than others. Okay, if I found out that like my what was the great grandpa, did something like that, and he dies, I don't think that that's the same as Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy type of murder, okay? I don't think that's the same. This is let's call it frontier justice. Okay, we're taking matters into our own hands. And I'm not condoning any of this, by the way. Okay, we're just making some jokes. We're lightheartedly making some jokes. I would never condone any violence against any person for any reason whatsoever. We're doing some philosophizing, okay? You know, that's my major. I'm a philosophy major. We're supposed to do this. We're philosophizing. We're thinking, okay? I don't think it was unintentional that the police just overlooked this one, okay? All right. Again, I don't condone any form of violence at all. I hope it's obvious that we're just all having fun joking here, but, I got to say that because I don't want to get in big trouble for condoning murder. So, yeah, I think that's understandable. Next one comes from Traditional Top 8635. My uncles are infamous criminals who killed multiple people. I thought they bred dogs. Yeah, those are very two different activities. I don't really know where the dog breeding came from. You know, they're great folks. They, they should forewarn you before you meet them. Murdered a couple people. When it was bad ones, definitely bad ones. But I'm telling you, if you are looking for a French bulldog, you just hit these guys up. Okay, we need to be forgiving for people's pasts, right? We've talked about this. We can't hold people to who they once were at one point in their lives. What's a couple murders in the span of a lifetime, all right? People can change. That's why they moved on to dog breeding, okay? And I'm telling you, they're killer. No pun intended. Nervous laughed. No pun intended. Oh no, that one. Maybe I should. Sorry. They're great. Looking for the sweetest, kindest little French bulldogs. They're your guys. Next one comes from Proud Medusa 71. We found out after my grandfather died that none of his 7 children with my grandmother were his, and that they all likely had different fathers. Yeah, I hope, yeah. Grandpa, it's probably best that he wasn't alive to hear that one. That one might just been a little bit, I don't know how I would feel if I was, that old, and I found out none of my kids were mine. I don't even know how I would react. I feel like I'd be, too old to even care. I'd just be like, you know what? I raised him. Doesn't even matter. Who cares anymore? Reply from Calamac. I mean, I probably wouldn't feel great towards my partner for that. Probably be like, it's a bit of a letdown. Okay, not gonna lie, little bit of feelings hurt here. Okay, the feelings are the mental when it comes to thinking about that in terms of you, not great. Don't feel great about that. Relationships I probably won't speak to again for the rest of my days on the planet. But you know what? I don't even care. Love the kids. Calamac replies, my maternal grandmother had 2 kids who were biologically my grandfather's kids. My mother and aunt, then 2 boys. I hope y'all have been paying attention. I switch between aunt and aunt all the time. I don't even. That's the difference between East Coast, West Coast, having that influence. My mom's from the East Coast. Been to the East Coast a lot as a kid. You pick up different stuff. Then So my maternal grandmother had 2 kids who were biologically my grandfather's kids, my mother and my aunt. Then 2 boys who weren't my grandfather's biological kids. She never said who fathered the older of those 2, and the ancestry hadn't turned up anything for them. She then moved in with the father of the younger boy without getting a divorce, leaving all the other kids with grandpa. Cheated on that guy and had another boy and was forced to give him up for adoption because he refused to raise another man's child. Years later, she was scandalized when my sister got pregnant without being married, and when she pointed that out, or pointed out that we were aware of her past, she was all, "That's different. I was married." I guess in her mind, it didn't matter if you were married to the person you were having kids with, you just had to be married to somebody. Okay, nice try, Grandma, trying to close the loophole. Okay, it doesn't count if you go down to the county office, okay, or the what is it called, the town hall, and get a quick marriage certificate, and then just bone whoever you want, and then just get the quick divorce, the Vegas divorce, and then skip town and move on to the next one. I think that she's like, wow, you weren't married. It's like, well, you cheated on everyone. Okay, at least I was in a committed relationship. Okay, I think we need to do we're comparing apples to oranges here. That's what's going on. I think you're being a little bit unreasonable with your assessment of the situation, if I do say so myself. Next one comes from Gladstretch398. My father's brother killed 4 girls when he was in high school. My father was the one who found out and told the police. Bro. Oh my goodness. Rest in peace to anybody, obviously, who's been murdered. And it's like, what's going through the head of that person? Like, I'm just going to kill 4 people and hope nobody finds out. No one's even going to notice. Like, what? 4 people have just gone missing, okay? No one just overlooks that. I don't understand the mentality here, okay? Get some help. Have you ever noticed how most other people don't want to murder people? Have you noticed that you have a tendency for some sort of different kind of behavior, like, I don't know, murder? You don't think that maybe you should look into that? Be a little concerned, be a little bit, hey, I'm a little different here. I want to murder people, okay? This is not normal. I think that this is very concerning. I can't see, I mean, obviously if you're a murderer, you don't want to get caught, but I'm just, if there's any at all inkling of any kind of just the smidgen of morality in these people, just the tiniest little itty bitty bit, you don't think it's just gonna be like, hey, I need some help here, all right? Because I think that that's probably the better option than 4 people have gone missing and thinking, no one's gonna notice. Okay, your brother was the one who found out, all right? That's how fast it is. Very simple. All right, let's read off one last one. So this one comes from Few Insurance 9739. This is honestly probably the most devastating one that I've read today. We found out Grandma's secret ingredient was actually just store-bought marinara sauce. Our family dinners will never be the same. I don't know if I could ever forgive my grandma. She makes the best ribs ever. If I found out that she was just heating them up, I think that's grounds for excommunication to my grandma. Okay? I don't know if I would ever forgive my grandma for that. To think that I was deceived my entire life, I don't even, and like, I'm telling you folks, she makes Greek-style ribs, no barbecue sauce, all right? This is not some Texas Roadhouse American-style ribs, okay? These are the Greek ribs. They are unbelievable, okay? They don't need sauce. They are fantastic on their own, like just mouth-watering. Okay, it's just unbelievable. And if I found out that she was just heating them up from the store, I don't think I'd ever speak to my grandma ever again. I think that would be, you know what, Grandma? This is the worst thing you could have done. I could have found out that you're not actually my grandma. Okay, and I would be less angry. I could have found out that you left somebody when you saw someone drowning and you just left. I would be less mad. Okay, the Greek ribs are no joke. Okay, this is a sacred family recipe. I would be utterly devastated. Just kidding. I would definitely be more mad if my grandma left somebody while they were drowning. Obviously, we're just joking around. But that's, again, imagine if your grandma was like Italian too. That would be just the biggest backstab in the world. It's like, I think you'd have to have your Italian citizenship revoked. If the Italian government found out that an Italian person had a secret recipe for marinara sauce and it turns out it was just store-bought stuff, I think the Italian, like whatever the FBI is in Italy, I don't think you'd see your grandma again. Just my opinion. They take that stuff pretty seriously. Reply from Fancy Beaded Placeman. I once served my kid my grandma's secret family recipe bean soup, Campbell's from a can, just like my grandma made it, and she loved it and begged for the recipe. She was 6, so I don't know what she thought she was going to do with it. I promised to tell her when she's older. I think you just prevented your child from being potentially the next, female Gordon Ramsay. All right? Just give her the recipe. Break it down. Look up one on the internet. Who knows? You just stifled their potential interest in cooking. All right, I'm a little disappointed. I can't lie. I'm a little let down by this. Who knows? Maybe she could have made it better. You thought beans in a can was good. Wait till you tried my 6-year-old daughter's beans that she cooked. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but she's one of those, Wunderkind, or what are they called? Like indigo children or something. She's just like, she's a prodigy, child prodigy. I'm jealous. Now or I don't know how to feel. I feel like I'm deceived. I want to try these beans now. Okay, I want to try the beans that your daughter might have made, but guess what? They don't exist, so I never will. Unfortunately. Listen, okay, we're going to wrap it up there for today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another installment of the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Remember to please rate and review the show if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever so you get your podcasts. And you can respond to this week's episode. You respond to this week's episode, and I will read out the reply out loud on the next week's following episode. So go ahead and please do that. I love each and every single one of you. I see y'all next Tuesday. Peace out. Love you. Goodbye.